Hello, world. Yeah, we are going to solve a lot of the world's ills today. Yes, we have a relationship coach. And when I say relationship, several different type of relationships. We all have many relationships in this world. So please don't get boxed in today because we're going to be a lot of that out of the box. Totally out of the box. Yeah. Okay. Great day, people. We are here September the 4th in whatever geological location you're at. How are you doing today? We have Miss Bev here today. Blessed to have you here, Miss Bev. How you doing today?
I'm good, thank you. And thank you for this conversation, for this opportunity.
Most definitely. Most definitely. I appreciate you too. It's genuine opportunity too here to have you here today. Um, so what is a little bit yeah, I'm knowledge. I'm from Dallas and hi everybody in Israel and Cape Town, South Africa too. How are y'all doing? No, she has audience there, people that love. Yeah. So in general, what is your background with relationships? Where yeah, what is your background with the relationships? Have you seen any crazy things or any dysfunction? Yeah, so we call it men or women. Have you seen any dysfunction with the men and women? And kind of where do you see it come from?
Okay, so I'll jump to the second part of your question just to talk about some of the differences between men and women. So we're born into a sea where there's this great divide of when children are born, their human qualities are divided into masculine and feminine. Masculine traits being like action, independence, strong, leadership, right? And feminine traits being like warm, soft, emotional, vulnerable. And even though we say that we value both of those sides, if you like, we really give masculine qualities more value. We value masculine qualities over feminine qualities. And what this means is this is all part of the whole concept of patriarchy. What this means that men, especially, are subject to censure when they step outside the box. Um, that's designated. So, for instance, a girl can be a tomboy. I can have short hair. I can wear pants. I don't have to wear makeup. But for boys who do that, they get labeled as sissies, as fags. They get put down. They're almost defined by their non-feminine traits, if you like. And what this
Yeah.
leads to is this whole idea of patriarchy, that one group is really better than another group. And this shows up in all our relationships.
Wow. So let's so since you said that one ends up being better than the other, let's attack the elephant in the room off top. Let's go there. Let's go there. We're gonna attack. Yeah, is does white mean right and black mean wrong? Where does this psyche go along with? Let's talk about it. It's an open conversation. Let's talk about it.
Okay, that's beautiful. Let's call it as it is. And what you're
Yeah.
talking about. So, firstly, in our relationships, we already come with certain roles, especially if it's a heterosexual couple, men and women, male, female. We come with certain roles and certain expectations. A lot of that gets generalized to the collective, where, yeah, black is seen as inferior to white,
Hmm.
women as inferior to men. We have those, we generalize those values to the collective, to the big. And really, if you look at self esteem, there are two aspects. Self esteem should come from the inside out. I have the same value exactly as you. You and I are same. Why? Because God or some higher power put us here. It's got nothing to do with anything that we've ever done. You might be a better swimmer than I am. I might be a better writer than you are. But it doesn't mean in any way that my value is more than yours. We are same as. And when we have a relationship, we need to come in, we need to look at each other eye to eye to have intimacy and closeness. If I'm standing from here, I can say, oh, I can say blacks are scary, I can say men are scary. But if I come in with the individuals, tell me about your life. What's it like to be black and talking to an ex-South African? What's it like for you? Then we can get closer. Does that make sense?
That makes perfect sense. It makes so much sense that I thought about this. So we definitely touched on this earlier. I personally think the amount of trauma, it's just like you say, someone could be a better swimmer, someone could be a better singer, someone could be a better dancer. But however, there is something in the background. I don't quite know what it is. I haven't figured this out. But when you go to school versus teaching kids love, the exact same things that you say, I think begins here. Like, you go to school, once again, I say, I speak English. And if you go with my government name, there's no way that me looking like this, my name would be Kenneth. There's no way. You know what I'm saying? It would be just like calling a Chinese man, his name is Yin, and you calling him Jared. You know what I'm saying? It would be like, come on, you know what I mean? It makes no sense. So I'm saying the dysfunction is like, it's made it where it's allowed. The media allows it where you can sell certain things. Like, if you want to sell hunger, you show a child from Africa with bugs flying around him, Little Mobutu, for $1 a day, you can save Little Mobutu. These are the type of things the media push. Then they open Red Cross and they take millions of dollars and never go help the people. And then these people start to think, oh, these are the people who look like this that are doing this. And because of the level of learning that people has, the level of self-connection with their own soul or spirit, just the breaths that you take, it's the smallest things in this world that would make you realize you would be able to see what's actually making you have these thoughts. And these relationships are no different than the family relationships, because in the family relationships is where you actually learn as a kid the same thing. It's something I don't want to jump around, but it's something I seen last night. So there was a guy that got like 30 years in prison for murder. It was a murder that he didn't commit, but out of everything, he was on death row. And while he's on death row, they put him next to a man that was in the Ku Klux Klan. And the man that was in the Ku Klux Klan, they became good friends. Being in these cells on death row, you have nobody else to talk to. So he talked to the guy, and the guy said, the only thing I was taught since a child was to hate people exactly like you. Now, in the last days of my life, I'm learning that you actually showed me how to love. The person that you've been taught to hate, you know what I'm saying? The person that you've been taught to hate now has shown you how to love. So I look at all of these things that people look at the wrong way, like it's an opportunity to show people genuinely how to love, how to take life to another level, not to be stuck in the trauma of saying, yeah, I have been a scary man. What made you a scary man? The thoughts that someone sold other people in the image of a media to make you think like that, or even the thought of making yourself think that this is what you are when it's totally not what you are. So there's so many variables, and it's like the elephant in the room. I would love for people like us to be able to start having these conversations on a contingency. It's a must, because the planet, they say, might depend on you and you being in a place where you never know where you're at, and you might have to depend on somebody who looks like that other person. So you wouldn't want this person saying, hey, are you a Christian? Are you a Muslim? What political affiliation were you? All of these divisive things you wouldn't want to be the first things that come in your mind in the times that definitely we possibly could be having. People are still having more animals to go be raised for stock to feed people in the world. Wide. There is so much going on in our planet right now that I think we have. Yeah, you would have to be an alien from space. Is why I put this kind of thing back there to really comprehend, because we don't understand much. But Bev, I didn't want to go too far into it. So with your knowledge of relationships, what are the main differences that you see that women kind of so think? And it's kind of like for instance, something I seen in one of your videos. You said women expect men to know what they're thinking. Said women automatically just assume, oh, he should know what I'm thinking. And you actually spoke on that. And I would almost think that you're a man from a man's perspective. Like, yeah, he's not a psychic. Like, I don't know. What do you per se think about this? Like, where do you see a lot of the divide? I just want to hear you talk for a while. You have a lot to say.
So women want to, because since the feminist movement, let me begin there, has empowered women. So I can do any job that a man can do, let's say. I can cross that line. What I like to talk about is relationship empowerment. So I can do a good job. I have a full-time job. You have a full-time job. When we come together at the end of the day, how are we going to manage our lives together? It's the relational question. You were talking about the planet. So it's not that I am above my relationship. I'm in my relationship and I depend upon it. So if I'm going to scream and shout here, my partner's going to withdraw and punish me here. It's like your house. We can both throw garbage into the living room, but then we'll both be living in all that dirt. It's not one person wins and the other one loses. It's a lose-lose for both, because the person who wins, that person's going to be punished by your partner. So instead of thinking of it as you and me, I encourage people to think of it as us. We're a team, that we're managing this life together. So today, women would like relationships that last into the 90s, walking hand in hand on the beach, deep conversations, but we're not raising our boys to meet that bar. So instead of women coming down, we want to raise our men up to be more sensitive, to express their feelings. Men do have feelings. But when they're very young, by the time they go to kindergarten, they know the code. You need to separate from mom. Big boys don't cry. They know the code. And then they get into adult relationships and they don't know how to express their feelings. And women are complaining. Women are saying, we want more from our men. And let us bring men up to give more, and for women to be more respectful of their men, to speak in a more kind and respectful way, and then there'll be a more cherishing of the closeness that healthy giving and getting bring.
Most definitely. So you're telling me women are complainers? Did I hear you say that? I cannot believe I heard you say. You said women are complainers?
I didn't say it quite like that. I'm saying women want more from their relationships today.
They want more from their relationship. Okay, so
more than men are able to give, because they're not brought up to be as relational. They're brought up to be independent and strong and do things by themselves rather than being relational. I need you, you need me, right?
Wow. Hey, that is so real. Men are brought up to be strong, brute, fast, almost like tricksters, able to get what they want, but they're not taught to develop families or develop like to be structured. They're not made to be very structured. They're not taught to be men in the essence of what it truly is to be men, nor are women.
We want it not to be this big divide, that to be male qualities are strong and independent, female are vulnerable, soft and emotional. We want to have people become whole human beings that have got
Sure.
that whole range of emotions. So we want
Sure.
men to be able to express their pain, to be able to listen. We want women to, yeah, sometimes be independent and sometimes be relational.
True. Definitely.
We want
Do you
us to
think?
become more human, full human beings. Excuse me, if that makes better
Yes.
sense.
Yes. It makes perfect sense. Full of human beings. So do you think this world is also over sexualized? Does that cause any issues in the man to woman relationship? And when I say over sexualized or hyper sexualized, I'm speaking like from a correct term. Like from a certain sense, you could say marriage means sex because you have soul ties. You have certain biological chemistries that you are connecting, so certain open gates and portals that you are opening with another person that could also create another child. So a lot of these things, I think, me personally, I think are deeper than people even somewhat give credit to, but they don't quite look at it like that. So, okay, so from this end that I'm speaking, I think a lot of men cause women a lot of voids in life or a lot of pain or hurt, and then I think women in certain because they haven't had rights quite the way men have. They haven't had opportunities the way men had. Now it's like, hey, we're in the house, like we can be seen now. Like, hey, sit down. Like, hey, shit, we can be seen. Like, so there's a difference with the confidence, the structure, the way a woman thinks, but there's still a part to be careful because we're all being used by our ego in some type of way. So once these situations, okay, so because we're speaking from a family perspective. So if the woman is saying, I make more money than the man now, I make more money than you, I can do it myself, I'm independent, your child doesn't need to deal with you, I make more money than you do. Your child doesn't have to see you. If this is the society that we live in, should we just continue and see the way things are? You see people go to court to who pays the child, when you can see your child. We see all of these different structures take place, and it's really not even the people. The people that are living it, you're just living it out. You're going to work every day, you're getting up with your child, you're just living it out. But this is why I think these conversations are so important because people don't realize they're just living it out. They think this person did this to me, so this is how I'm going to respond to what this person did. And then this person said, oh, you did this to me, so I'm going to respond like, and it ends up just being a mess where more people are traumatized. More people don't quite get it. And I think they're really just conversations. They're conversations where you can't have your emotions tied to it. When it can't be personal. You did this, you did that. It has to be in the present, in the now. Where are we at now? A few minutes ago, we didn't even know if we would have this interview. It wouldn't pull up. All type of distractions or different things happen. So when I see those things happening, I say I need to interview with that person. There's something even stronger in me that develops and says, and even during the interview, you even go back to the interview, your body language changes, mind changes. Like it's actually, we can have a connection to people that are way deeper than people actually see because we can help this world, this planet that we're living in a different way that we can't actually see. And I think it's about bringing those moments to as big as can. But I think it starts with the family and you being a relationship coach. I know there has had to be situations where even the men where you're like, okay, you're not correct. You're not correct, and you tell him where he can correct it at, but he becomes deaf to it. He can't even hear what you're saying, but you're telling him exactly where. I've had things where my first child mother, I've had my first child when I was pretty young, probably about 20, 19. So in the midst of this, being a young man, I think I scarred that person so much just from being young that she's like, no matter how much I paid her for my kids, it's like you are gonna pay because you destroyed our whole family. But it was actually her that destroyed. She said, "This is over. This is that." But then 2 months later, she's like, no, I can't. She was kind of indecisive. I'm being a man. I'm thinking I'm young. Okay, like it's over. We're done. But I think it scarred that person for a long time, to the point to where she now has my kids, to where even they used to follow me around as kids, but now all of a sudden, yeah, there's a separation there. She created a huge gap, huge separation. And I've seen it taking place over the years, but it's like the way the system is set up, there's nothing you can do about it. There's nothing you can do about it. So when you see that, you must ask yourself, is there a certain way? If I could communicate even with that person, I would be willing to have the conversation to say, hey, this is for the best benefit of them. You see they've been scarred over years, and you see how they respond. You see how they're responding to it. But it's not in their best interest for me to be able to have this conversation with you, but I couldn't have this connection, a conversation with seeds that have come from me because of you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Sometimes, it's a thing. And I know you, as a relationship coach, that you have coached through similar situations. How have you been able to affect either the man or woman to get them to see that the lone people that have been hurting is actually the future? These people they will need when they get old, they are going to depend on them one day the same way that they depended on you at a certain point. Like, so how do you begin to bridge these gaps? Or what have you seen in your expertise that could help bridge these gaps somewhat?
Right. So what you're talking about is two things that are very impactful. Number one, we have parts of us that are young. When we're young and we look at the adult world, we decide, oh, that's what an adult should look like. So often we show up in our relationships in a very young way. Things must be black and white. Things must be done just this way. I want to control you. I want to punish you. Those young parts are not interested in relationship. They're just interested in protecting themselves. This part that's in the conversation now, you and me, that's our wise adult. That part is interested in relationships. So very often we need to heal those younger parts of us. They've been hurt by the adults around them. We need to heal them and not let them run our relationships. Relationships means it's not about you and your partner and the children. It's about all of you together. What's best for the whole system?
That is right. I couldn't agree more. Yeah, I couldn't agree more.
Because as you so correctly said, children get traumatized. You yourself said you came from a broken family, and dysfunction goes from one generation to the other, like a fire in the woods, until one person stops and faces the flames and says, stop. I want to overcome this. Then they heal those who've come before, and they spare the ones who are still to come. But if you don't do your work, your children will probably have no relationship with you. And when they become adults, they will continue in that pattern of either, if it's violence or neglect or no relationships. They don't know how to be relational because no one's ever shown them. Because all relationships are harmony, rupture, and repair.
Most definitely.
But I guess the background that you were telling me, you never saw how to repair a relationship. And that's the relationship you have probably with the mother of your children. You don't know how to make it better. Even if you don't want to live with her, you will always have a connection to her because she's the mother of your children.
Yes.
So even if you won't have a romantic relationship, you will have a relationship. And for the children's sake, it would be nice if it could be a healthier relationship.
Okay, so that's a great question. So how do you do that? If someone else is scarred, and they can't see you around another woman now, even if it's 12 years later, I cannot see this. Even though I have my kids, I'm going to have to fight the other lady. If it is a crazy situation like that, what could you possibly, if you tried everything. I mean everything. And you say, look, I just want to be with whatever terms, whatever I can do for you and them, it makes life better. It makes life better. I'm here. Like I surrender to that part. But in the astrology, the way the stars are set up, even if I would have known about astrology at the time, there is no way that knowing what I've known now, I would have selected that person to have kids. I know I've had every wrong sign, even at the time. I was just immature. I was just immature, and I could admit that even to the person, like, and say it's just immaturity. So when you get to that point, where could we get with the men and women that would help structure? Okay, so myself, what could I do to try to heal the situation that I'm speaking of? If I spoke the situation to you, what advice would you give me and say, okay, because now I have a 17-year-old daughter. I mean, I'll just put it out there. She assaulted her mother. She lives with another lady. I have a 6-bedroom house. I said, come live with me. But her mother has told him so much. My house has been the punishment home. Only when y'all are in trouble over time is when you go to your daddy's house. So if I read with my kids, I say, hey, they'll never give you these books in school. Let's read on the weekends. Their mother says, why do you have them reading on the weekends? You know, why if you sell cars, you take them out to get car parts? Whatever I did was wrong for so long that they really think whatever this person is telling you is wrong. When their mother is the one who even told me, you're leaving me behind. You're developing so fast spiritually. I can't keep up. This is what this person told me. But yet you tell these young people this thing, so they don't trust anything I say. And over time, I could be their biggest influence that they've ever seen in life. And this person really knows that. So where do you get to a point to where you don't lose these young people? I could help a million other young people, but I can't help my own kids. That is the craziest thought in this life. Like, that is the craziest thought in this life, that you actually brought little people here into this world, and they don't identify with anything that you say. It's like you're out of there. But because
So
they have been,
painful.
they have been taught that through influence. So I just look at it and I say, if there wasn't a system design, if there wasn't a system that says, hey, this person can see their kid every first, third, and fifth of the month of the week. Even if you live right next by them, you can only pick your kids up this time. You can't go to their school and put them out of school because somebody gave them a child support order saying you can't pick them up from school. You only are with them Wednesday and during the weekends. You can't come. So when a person does this because they feel like you had infidelity issues when y'all were younger, you had infidelity issues. So this is the cause, but the kids don't know that. I mean, they know that because she tells them, your daddy was a whore when we were together. Like, she tells your kids stuff like this. What do you do? I mean, I think this is something huge. And I know you were only just supposed to be on here 45 minutes. So we're going to make sure that you get where you have to get to. I haven't lost track of time. But as far as being a relationship, you're the guru. What do we do about these? Because there's millions. I've only given my story just a little bit because I know that there's millions of other people out there that have experienced the same things. They really wish they could they like, okay, I wish I wouldn't have did that. Where can we go from right now? We can't go back to that point and correct that point. But what can we do now? Because we're losing the future. In the midst of us being in the past, we're losing the whole future. So what can you possibly do to make people snap out of it? There's a lot going on. Is it possible? Or is it like Bob Marley said, there ain't no use. Nobody can stop them now. Is that the truth? Like, is that the truth? Or, yeah, I search for these answers.
My advice would be, because the situation is extremely complex, extremely painful, and having a painful impact, as you say, on the next generation. The fire is just going on, the house is just burning down. My advice would be to approach her and find yourselves a good person, a third person, a professional where you can both speak, because you have your perspective, she has her perspective. It's not right or wrong. And how can you move forward in a healthy way for the children as well as for each other, instead of having all the fighting going on? It needs a professional input of a good therapist, of a mediator, you name it, a pastor, whatever works for you guys. It needs someone where you can come together and hear each other.
Yeah.
Speak your truth and hear each other, and see how you can move on in a relational way.
That's love. That's love. So, all right. So, from a professional advice, what if that person tells you exactly what I just said? They'll tell it to me, but the kids who have been more influenced, like they have been front and center stage to see a person try to fight another person because they're with me. The kids have seen this. So when you look at it, like the kids, they don't like daddy's new girlfriend because mama, doesn't like her either. They don't know why, but they just been taught these things. So once you get to those points to where a person will tell you, but you say, don't tell me, the kids are being affected. Tell them. So now they know this is why these things happen. So they don't have to dislike people for no reason. So don't just be honest with me. I get it though. Like once you say it with a professional will possibly have the correct words to say to a person, which is why I definitely wanted to do this video, because I think there is a huge disconnect with just the way the man's brain operates compared to the way the woman's brain operates. I think they are on two different. I've seen people not be able to agree on if they're getting up and going to walk in the morning, or what time they should walk in the morning, what they're eating in the morning, what this person shouldn't know that they were thinking. There's so much disconnect.
That's
do you
why,
see?
if I can just interrupt you, it needs someone who will bring forth, you and your ex-partner need to bring forth your adult selves and take your adult role. You are parents. You cannot just throw those children in the garbage. And you need to take on the adult role. And that adult role is, how can we make it better for them? It might be too late for you and me to have a relationship, but we have to take responsibility for the children we've brought into this world, because we don't want children hitting parents. That's the wrong way around, right? The river should flow down the mountain, not up the mountain. Children shouldn't be taking care of parents, right? Children shouldn't be abusing parents. Parents shouldn't be abusing children. It needs some kind of intervention. That's what I'm saying to you.
That's rare. Yeah, that's rare.
I think that's urgent. I think that it really needs an intervention with a third person.
Most definitely.
I see our time is almost up.
That is good. That is good. I appreciate you for the interview, Ms. Bell. This is, once again, as things are getting greater and better. I will definitely be checking on your posts, keeping in touch with you, and we might have to do this again one day. Once it blows up and it's a great start. Appreciate you here today. I think you have given great advice. Yes, ma'am. Yeah, make sure y'all do you have a YouTube? Where can the world reach you?
I have a YouTube channel, and I have a website, bev.co.il, Bev Coyle. If you're going to post this, I can definitely send you the contact details.
Definitely. Good deal. Okay, well, we will talk to everyone in the world later. Make sure you like, share, subscribe, definitely connect, and great day. Ashe. Love, peace, and guidance to the world.